Everyone, welcome to another podcast. Today, episode 16 of the podcast radio show. Today's guest is Harry Gration. So yeah, here's my interview with Harry Gration. Here we go. We chat about news, his career, everything. So here's my interview with Harry Gration here on YouTube for the podcast radio show, episode 16, and I'll see you in the wrap-up. Here it is.
Now, hello, it's 2021. We are very nearly out of lockdown. Not long now, but I am here to help you by chatting to some guests. Welcome to episode 16 of the Ben Lister podcast radio show here on Hull Kingston Radio 107.4 FM. And in previous episodes, we have had guests such as we kicked off in Barnsley to meet the incredible Stephanie Hurst, then drove down the motorway to Chesterfield to meet Sean Goldsmith, then drove to Scarborough to meet with Paddy Billington, then drove back to Hull to meet with Lucy Clark, then flew across to New York to meet Dan Murphy, then to North Lincolnshire we drove to chat to motoring journalist Paul Woodford, then we drove back across the Humber Bridge to meet with Lee Ton, the podcaster, and his partner in crime, DJ Ashley Noble from The Layman Show. Then across to Lancashire we drove to meet Kim Harrison from BBC Radio Humberside. Then to York we drove to meet Chris Marsden, and then to Wivensea to see Curfew Smiles. Then to West Yorkshire we drove to meet broadcasting legend Jim Coulson. Then we drove to Derby to meet broadcasting royalties, the one, the only Steve Jordan, followed by a drive to the Steel City to meet Mr. Howard Pressman. And then we went to Bradford to meet Rosie Madison and Danny Milo of Pulse One. And last time we returned to East Yorkshire to meet broadcaster and friend of mine, Phil White. But today we are back in South Yorkshire to meet a broadcasting god, the Peter Levy of the West and South, of course. It's the one, the only, Harry Gration. Hello, Harry. Welcome along.
It's lovely to be part of such a very distinguished band of celebrities you've had there. Welcome to you as well, Ben.
Yep. 5 questions, if that's okay.
Of course.
Are you ready to rumble in the
I certainly am. I hope you are.
Yep. Let's go. Question 1. Where did you start your broadcast career?
Well, I started on hospital radio in York, I suppose, if that can be considered broadcasting. And then I went on to Radio Leeds, where I started on rugby league coverage and a bit of football. And I stayed with Radio Leeds whilst I was a teacher. I was a teacher of history, and I was trying desperately hard to get a full-time job in broadcasting. And I eventually succeeded after about 5 years when I was head of history at a school in Rothwell. And I was given the chance of having a 3-month contract. That was it. No promises after that. A 3-month contract to work on news and sport for Radio Leeds. Take it or leave it, they said. I took it, and 42 years later, I was still in a job.
Wow, what a start to your career and what a journey. Question 2. Who were your broadcasting inspirations growing up?
Because sport was my main passion, I suppose it had to be David Coleman, who I used to watch on Grandstand. That was the flagship BBC sports programme that went every Saturday afternoon for many, many years. And I ended up actually presenting that 12 times as well, which was an incredible experience of something I will never forget. My contemporaries, though, who I really admired enormously were Des Lynam and Steve Ryder. They were Grandstand presenters as well. So they were the 3 people who shaped, I think, the way I broadcast. I didn't copy them, but I looked at their different styles, their different mannerisms, their different strengths, and I tried to amalgamate them all into my own to try and make myself different, but also with a little bit of each of them in me, and that's what I've tried to do.
Yeah, and you've done a brilliant job so far.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I see you all, because I sometimes watch your archive stuff on Look North sometimes on the YouTube. And it's very good because you and your other co-presenters are brilliant at your job.
Well, bear in mind, I did Look North for over 30 years as a presenter. So I've got quite a bit of archive. I think one of the great joys that I had working for Look North in Yorkshire is my passion for the county. I love Yorkshire. It means everything to me. So I always try to portray it in the right way of doing things. And that became my passion. It became the thing that was most important to me more than anything, was never to do the place down. I would never ever knock Yorkshire in any shape or form, or any of the places that I worked as well. I'm always very proud of all that. So over 30 odd years presenting Look North made me feel even more comfortable about the kind of things I was doing. And if you look at the stuff I've done for Look North in Yorkshire, you will see some incredible things. Obviously, the charity events that we did were renowned and were quite amazing, really. And they raised nearly £1 million over the years. So I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of the people who supported me, not just at work, but also the viewers who watched Look North night in, night out. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. Question 3. What is your favourite part about the job?
When I was doing it, as I'm now semi-retired, I think meeting people. I've always wanted to be a presenter who went out reporting. That was my main strength, I always thought. Because if you go out reporting, you meet people. You get a sense of what the story is all about rather than just report on it in the studio. So that was very, very significant to me to be part and parcel of that. And I always was well known that every morning at 8 o'clock, I rang up the news desk and said, what is my story today that you're going to send me on? And it became quite institutional, did that. Everybody knew at 8 o'clock it was me calling. In the end, of course, it was a bit of wishful thinking because we got so many reporters now working for Look North on both sides of the M62, if you like to call it that. And I think that the chances of a presenter going out on a regular basis to cover stories, I'm afraid, is something which I would have found difficult now. Obviously, I've now left Look North and I will never ever go back to broadcasting news. But I always look with affection at people who can do both. Go out reporting, come back and cut their own story, and then broadcast it as well. It was something that made me feel very proud of some of the achievements that I made.
Yeah, and I also saw a video just before your retirement of a broadcasting hero of mine who you talked to, Sir Michael Parkinson.
Yeah. It's funny that because that really did resonate with so many people. Michael became a good pal of mine over the years. Whenever he was in Yorkshire, he used to give me a ring up and say, "Are you going to come down and have a chat with me?" Blah, blah, blah. We used to give each other a big hug. I just thought he was a great, great guy. Loved him to bits. The best interviewer television has ever had because he allowed people to talk. Never challenged people in the way that interviews go now, don't they? They're quite aggressive for interviews now.
Yeah.
He would never have done that. Admittedly, it was a different style of program his, but he taught me a great deal as well. You know, I was talking at the start about the people who influenced my style of broadcasting. Parky probably had the most profound influence on me in the way that you interview people, because I don't think it necessarily is a great thing to be nasty to an interviewee. Sometimes you might get a bit irate, a little bit impassioned, shall we say, but some of the interviews that you see on television now are downright rude, and that's not me. And therefore I'm quite pleased actually that I'm out of the scene now and don't have to do that kind of thing. But Parky was the king, will always be the king, and I'm proud to say he was a great pal of mine.
Yeah, brilliant person. My top 3 are Parky, obviously, Terry Wogan and Tony Blackburn as well.
Yeah, I can see that. Why? I mean, Blackman was a fantastic DJ, very, very popular. Really made Radio 1 what it was. And I can understand where you're coming from with that. And Wogan too was a person who I knew quite well, Terry. I worked with him quite a bit, and he was a lovely man, was Terry, a really genuine, kind person. So I'm with you on that one, Ben, very much so. There were three people that I admire as well.
Yeah, and also it's very good to know their different styles. There were different styles, but they all were brilliant broadcasters of their time.
Very much so. Yeah, very much so.
Question 4. How has COVID affected your life and line of work?
Profoundly, if I'm honest, because when it first started, I was sent home by my bosses because of my age and some of the underlying health conditions that I've had to contend with throughout my life, really. And I was sent home for the first lockdown, which was 5-6 months, and it really hurt me, did that, because I wanted to be part of the biggest story that this region's ever covered, and I couldn't be. So it did shape my way of thinking. It made me realise, well, maybe this is the right time for me to retire, coming up to the age of 70. And as soon as I got back, after that first lockdown, which was August of last year, I saw it was different. The programme was different. It was formulaic. It was not as challenging for a presenter. And I got the distinct impression that this was the right time for me to move on. So it did shape my decision to retire, which of course I did in October. And I've never looked back, Ben, to be honest. I've never watched a single Look North since, not because I'm angry about anything. I just haven't felt the need to watch it. If there's ever a story that I fancy watching, I will, but I just don't watch it now, and that part of my life is over.
Yeah, we have Peter Levy over here. Obviously, he does a brilliant job over here.
Peter's a good pal of mine, has been for many years. We work very closely together, and there's no better person to have doing the story and covering the patch where he does. He's a great guy. A lot of fond memories with Peter. Very dedicated, different to me in one regard, in that he will never take a holiday. I'm afraid I couldn't do that. I need my holidays. I need to be refreshed, and I need to give the viewer a break as well. But Peter loves work. He'll be working until he's 80.
I don't know if you've ever met this man before. His name was Richard Whiteley. He used to work on the calendar.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Richard was a good pal of mine. Yeah.
He was a brilliant broadcaster in his time, and now I look and I do watch Calendar now and again because I like Christine and Duncan. Is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. I mean, Richard was an institution. Countdown, of course, made him. He became a really tremendous presenter. Very, very helpful to me, I have to say. A lot of people don't realise this, but yes, we are opponents, etc. But Richard gave me some very good tips when I was starting out, and we became good pals. And it was such a loss when he died so early. I did feel very, very sorry about that. But yeah, he was a great guy, and we still miss him to bits. Absolutely miss him to bits.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good bloke as well, because I used to watch him when I was a young child on Countdown. Obviously, he died in 2005, I believe.
Yes, he did.
And his spot got taken over on Countdown by the great Des Lynam.
It was, yeah. I don't know whether Des was quite right for that, as much as I love Des. I didn't think he quite really took to it. I knew it wouldn't last long. It lasted about a year, didn't it? A year and a half. And now they've got somebody else trying it out as well. So, I wish them all the very, very best. I don't watch Countdown myself much these days, but I used to watch it all the time when Richard was on.
It's Anne Robinson, the new host.
Yeah, I wish her well. I don't really know her. If she can get on with the audience, she'll be fine. But she's quite crusty, is Anne. So you might have to change your style a little bit, but we'll see. And I wish her nothing but success.
Fair enough. Question 4. We've done question 4. Question 5, What advice would you give to young aspiring broadcasters?
Be yourself. Try to be a little bit different. You are entering into a universe which is populated by so many thousands of wannabes. They want your job. They want to be presenter. They want to be the top dog. So you have to be different. You have to be able to do something different. So I like to think I could offer reporting skills and my sports skills as well when I first started. So I could turn my hand to quite a few different things. But the days of just being a presenter, I think are over now. I think you've got to offer a great deal more than just that. And indeed, in the future, presenters will have to produce bulletins themselves, actually physically produce them, edit them, etc. And that's something I didn't do, but which is part and parcel of the norm now. So your ability to be able to offer something that is a bit different to what other people who want the same job is very, very important indeed. So yes, be different, and you've got to work. No, none of this saying, "Oh, I'm going out with my girlfriend," when the big story has appeared. You do it, and you work all weekend, as I did all the time when I was working with Christopher Ackroyd. When a big story worked, it developed over the weekend. We both used to be vying to go out to do it, and that was on our weekend off. That's how we made ourselves as successful as we were.
Yeah. Do you still speak with Krista?
Yeah. Krista's a good pal, always will be. Not spoken to her, funny enough, for a couple of months, which is the longest I've gone without talking to her. That's because of lockdown and so on. But we will get together again as soon as we're able to meet up and have lunch and decide on a few little things that we're going to do together, probably in the weeks and months ahead. So we'll see whether they manage to come about, because it would be great to work alongside with her. She was a great professional, very dear friend, totally loyal, and never let me down, and I hope vice versa.
She was good friends with Richard Whiteley as well, I think.
Very close to Richard. In fact, closer than I was, to be honest. She was really close, because she actually worked physically with him in the calendar studio. So obviously got to know him very well, and his death hit her very, very badly. She was great pals, of course, with Richard's partner, Catherine Apanovich, and I know Krista and Kathy are still very close to this day.
Yeah, because one of my previous guests used to play a sport with one of Krista's daughters, I think.
Yeah.
One of my previous guests, Rosie Madison, I think she used to play either one of the sports with Krista's daughter, I think she said.
Yeah.
That's it for today here on the Ben Lister Podcast Radio Show. Thank you very much for joining us, Harry.
Pleasure.
Join us again soon for motoring journalist Paul Woodford, but for now, please give it up for Sir Harry Gration. Thank you very much for listening, and that's a wrap.
That was my interview with Harry Gration, the legendary Harry Gration. Really hope you enjoyed it. My next upload later on tonight will be with Bruno Brooks, the one and only Bruno Brooks, and Rob Charles on my Chatbox collection. So I hope you can join me then, and then I'll upload some more Chatbox later on as well. So I'm going to be busy working late into the night. So yeah, hope you enjoy this video with Harry. Hope you enjoyed my video with Harry Gration. See you in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and whatever you have to do. Thank you very much for watching, and that's a wrap.